The rain hammered the motel roof like fists on a coffin, drowning out the thunder that rattled the thin walls. I lay there, heart slamming against my ribs, staring at the water-streaked ceiling while Christopher's breath ghosted hot against my neck. Too close, too real. "Will," he whispered, his voice cracking like the lightning outside. "I can't pretend anymore." And in that split second, his hand slid under the sheet, fingers brushing my thigh, igniting a fire I'd buried for years. I never thought a cross-country road trip would unravel everything. It was supposed to be simple. Me, William Hayes, fresh out of NYU film school with a beat-up script in my backpack, and my best friend Christopher "Chris" Harlan, the golden boy from our high school days in suburban Ohio, now grinding through med school at Johns Hopkins. We'd been thick as thieves since sophomore year, him, the straight-A jock with the easy grin, and me, the quiet queer kid who filmed everything on his shitty Canon to make sense of the world. "One last hurrah before real life kicks our asses," Chris had said over beers at that dive bar in Brooklyn, slapping my shoulder like it was nothing. But real life, it had been kicking my ass since the day I realized I was in love with him. We'd mapped it out like a movie. Fly into LAX, rent a cherry red Mustang convertible, his one splurge, and snake east along Route 66, chasing sunsets and dive diners from California to Chicago. "Gonna film the shit out of this, Will?" He'd laughed, tossing me the keys at the Hertz lot. Make me look like a brooding antihero, I wanted to tell him then, as we blasted Springsteen with the top down, wind whipping our hair, that he already was one. But I swallowed it, like always. Chris was straight as an arrow, dated cheerleaders in high school, sorority girls in college. I was the safe harbor, the guy who patched him up after breakups, listened to his rants about organic chem, and crashed on his couch without a second thought. The first leg was pure magic. Palm trees blurred into Joshua trees' jagged spines, and we howled at the moon over cheap tequila in a ghost town bar. Chris stripped down to board shorts for a midnight dip in some forgotten spring, his body lean and scarred from high school football, faded bruises on his ribs like war paint. I filmed it all, zooming in on the way water beaded on his skin, telling myself it was for the vibe reel. That night, we doubled up in a Fleabag motel outside Barstow, him sprawled across the queen bed in boxers, me on the lumpy armchair with a blanket. "Dude, get up here," he'd mumbled, half asleep. "It's like a sauna." I hesitated, pulse thundering, but slid in anyway, back to back, the mattress dipping under his weight. His calf brushed mine once, accidental, and I lay awake till dawn, every nerve screaming. By Vegas, the cracks showed. We'd blown our budget on blackjack and all-you-can-eat buffets, laughing it off as the slots chimed around us. But Chris was quieter, scrolling his phone with a frown. Texts from his ex, Sarah, the poli-sci major who dumped him for some Wall Street prick. "She says I'm emotionally unavailable." He spat over lukewarm coffee at a Denny's off the strip. "What the hell does that even mean?" I wanted to scream it. "It means you're blind to the one guy who's been here, pouring his soul out in silence." Instead, I said, "You're not unavailable, man. You're just selective." He looked at me then, I searching, and for a heartbeat, I thought he saw it, the ache I'd hidden behind bad jokes and late-night edits. We pushed on, the desert swallowing us whole. Grand Canyon at sunrise, him leaning over the edge, wind tousling his blonde hair, yelling obscenities at the void while I captured it in 4K, my chest tight with unspoken poetry. This is living, Will, he said, clapping my back. No regrets, lies. Regrets were my middle name. That night, in a cabin tucked into Sedona's red rocks, a storm rolled in biblical, the kind that floods arroyos and strands you. Power flickered, then died. The owner, a grizzled vet named Hank, shrugged over the landline. One room left. Boys. Queen bed. Take it or hike. Chris glanced at me, sheepish. Cool? My throat went dry. Yeah. Cool. We crashed in, soaked to the bone, peeling off shirts in the lamplight's glow. His skin was flushed from the cold, muscles shifting under freckles I knew by heart from years of locker room glances. I toweled off in the bathroom, staring at my reflection, dark curls plastered flat, hazel eyes haunted. 24 years old, and still a coward. When I emerged, he was under the covers, one arm behind his head, the sheet riding low on his hips. Your turn, he said, voice low. I killed the lamp and slipped in beside him, the bed too narrow for space. Our shoulders touched. His warmth seeped into me like whiskey. Night, bro, he murmured. Night, I echoed, but sleep was a joke. Hours later, the thunder woke me, or maybe it was his stirring. Rain lashed the window, wind howling through the pines. Chris shifted, his leg draping over mine in sleep, heavy and unyielding. I froze, breath shallow, every inch of contact electric. He mumbled something incoherent, face inches from mine in the dark, stubble shadowing his jaw, lips parted. God, I wanted to trace them. Then his hand moved, deliberate now, sliding across my chest under the sheet, fingers splaying over my heart. Will, he breathed, eyes fluttering open, hazy with dreams or something darker. My name on his tongue like that, raw, needy, shattered me. Chris, I whispered, but he didn't pull away. Instead, his palm drifted lower, brushing my stomach, igniting sparks I'd only dreamed of. I turned toward him, pulse a war drum. His blue eyes locked on mine, stormy in the flashes of lightning. Fuck, he rasped, voice thick. Can't pretend anymore. And then his hand cupped my thigh, thumb tracing the inseam of my boxers, bold and trembling. The world narrowed to that touch, years of longing crashing like the storm outside. I leaned in, lips brushing his collarbone, tasting salt and rain. He gasped, fingers digging in, pulling me closer. Our mouths met in the chaos, hesitant at first, then hungry, teeth clashing, tongues tangling like we'd both been starving. His body arched against mine, hard and urgent, erasing every line we'd drawn. But dawn came cruel. He bolted upright at first light, sheet tangled around his waist, face pale as the motel curtains. What the hell was that? He demanded, not looking at me. I sat up, gut twisting. You kissed me back, Chris. He rubbed his temples, avoiding my eyes. I was half asleep, drunk on exhaustion or whatever. Doesn't mean shit. The words landed like punches. I laughed, bitter. Bullshit. You felt it. He stood, yanking on jeans, back turned. I'm not. I can't be that guy. Will. Not for you. The door slammed behind him, leaving me in the wreckage, bed unmade, heart in shreds. We drove in silence that day, the Mustang's engine a growl between us. Sedona's vortexes mocked me, swirling red dust like my thoughts. By nightfall, in a ghost town outside Flagstaff, he cracked, apologized over greasy burgers, blamed the storm, the booze from the night before. We're good, right? Brothers forever. I nodded, forcing a smile, but inside, betrayal festered. He tasted me, claimed me in the dark, then discarded it like a bad take. Still, I clung, filmed him laughing at a kitschy UFO museum, edited clips to hide the hurt. Love's a director's cut, all the pain on the cutting room floor. The Midwest blurred by in a haze of cornfields and truck stops, but the Grand Canyon chasm between us yawned wider. Chris cranked the radio, classic rock anthems to fill the void, while I gripped the wheel, knuckles white, replaying that night like a loop in my head. His hand on my thigh. The way he'd moaned my name. Was it pity, experimentation, or worse? Regret so deep it poisoned us? We'd hit pause on the fight, but tension hummed like static, every glance loaded. Amarillo's Cadillac Ranch sprayed us with graffiti under a relentless Texas sun. Him posing shirtless against a buried tailfin, spray paint dripping down his chest like abstract tears. I snapped photos, framing him against the blue sky, but my lens lingered too long on the curve of his hip. Pervert, he joked later, tossing a beer my can, but his eyes darted away. That night, in a Route 66 motel with neon buzzing vacancy, we got separate beds, queen and full, a deliberate chasm. He crashed early, snoring softly, while I edited footage on my laptop till my eyes burned. The clips played, us at the canyon's edge, arms slung casual, his laugh echoing in the spring. Cut to Sedona, our shadows merging on the wall before the kiss. I deleted it, throat tight. Evidence of a ghost. 2 days in, near Tulsa, the Mustang threw a rod, sputtered to a halt on I-40, steam hissing like a pissed-off dragon. Fuck my life, Chris groaned, kicking the tire. AAA was hours out, so we hitched to a roadside diner, the kind with checkered floors and pie under glass. Over coffee black as my mood, he opened up, really opened, not the surface shit. Sarah's been texting nonstop. Wants to talk. His fork stabbed a slice of cherry pie, juice bleeding red. Thinks I'm running from commitment. But what if? What if I'm just broken? I leaned in, heart aching. You're not broken, man. You're human. Messy. That's what makes you you. He met my gaze then. Something raw, flickering vulnerability I'd only glimpsed in high school, after his dad's heart attack, when he'd shown up at my door at 2 a.m., tears streaking his face. You always get me, Will. Always have. His hand covered mine on the formica table, thumb stroking once, echo of the storm. Heat flooded me, but I pulled back gentle. Yeah. Always. The tow truck came at dusk, and we limped into Oklahoma City, booking a cheap Airbnb to wait for parts. It was a shotgun house in a neighborhood, rainbow flags fluttering like warnings. Cozy, Chris quipped, dropping his duffel in the living room. But that night, after pizza and a six-pack, the walls closed in. We sprawled on the couch, binging old Tarantino flicks, Pulp Fiction's dialogue a shield. Halfway through, buzzed and loose, he paused the TV. About Sedona, my stomach dropped. Don't, but he pressed on, voice low. It wasn't nothing. Okay. I felt something. Scared the shit out of me. I turned, searching his face, jaw clenched, eyes stormy. Then what are we doing? Chris. Pretending. He leaned closer, breath whiskey warm. I don't know. But I miss us. The easy part. His forehead touched mine. A brush of stubble. And for a heartbeat, I thought we'd dive back in. Then his phone buzzed, Sarah's face lighting the screen. He jerked away, answering with a forced laugh. Hey, babe. Yeah. Road trips wild. I retreated to the porch. Chain-smoking menthols I swore I'd quit. Watching fireflies dance in the humid night. Betrayal stung fresh. Not just the kiss's ghost, but this him chasing straight-line safety while I drowned in curves. He found me there, leaning on the rail. She's flying out tomorrow. Wants to meet in St. Louis. My laugh was hollow. Convenient. Hurt flashed in his eyes. It's not like that. I need clarity. I stubbed the cig, ash scattering. Get it, then. But don't drag me through your therapy session. He grabbed my arm, grip firm. You're not a session, Will. You're. He trailed off, frustration etching lines on his face. Everything. The next morning, we picked up the fixed Mustang, purring like new, and tore toward Missouri, silence thick as the humidity. Sarah arrived at the arch in a sundress and heels, all polished smiles, hugging Chris like a lifeline. I hung back, filming the reunion, her laughter tinkling, his arm around her waist. William, the filmmaker, she cooed, air-kissing my cheek. Chris raves about you, lies, or half-truths. We grabbed lunch at a riverside joint, catfish and slaw, the Mississippi churning lazy below. She dominated med school gossip, wedding Pinterest boards. Chris nodded along, but his eyes flicked to me, apologetic, hungry. I excused myself early, claiming edits, and holed up in our hotel overlooking the gateway. That night, they fought. I heard it through the walls, her voice shrill, his low rumble. You're different out here, distant. Something crashed. Then silence, broken by a knock. Chris stood in my doorway, hair disheveled, shirt untucked. Can I? I stepped aside, heart pounding. He collapsed on the bed, head in hands. She's right. I'm a mess. I sat beside him, tentative. What do you want, Chris? Really? He looked up, eyes red-rimmed. You. But it's fucked. I love her, or I thought I did. And you. God, Will, you've always been there, steady. But this, he gestured between us, lost. I cupped his face, thumb tracing his lip. Then stop running. He kissed me then. Fierce, deliberate, no storm to blame. Hands in my hair, body pressing me into the mattress, all the pent-up storm of him unleashed. We stripped slow, reverent, his mouth mapping my neck, my fingers digging into his back, tracing scars like braille. Tell me to stop, he gasped against my skin. Never, I breathed, pulling him closer. It was fire and flood, him inside me, tentative then urgent, our rhythms syncing like a perfect take. Whispers in the dark. I've wanted this, he confessed, voice breaking. Since that summer in Ohio, skinny dipping in the lake, dawn found us tangled, his head on my chest, fingers laced. But noon brought the crash. Sarah pounded on the door, eyes wild. What the fuck? Chris. She'd seen the "Do Not Disturb" sign, pieced it together. He bolted up, scrambling for clothes, face ashen. It's not, babe. Wait. She turned on me, venomous. You seduced him. My fiancé. Fiancé? The word gutted me. Chris didn't correct her. Sarah, please. But she stormed out, tires screeching. He dressed in silence, then faced me, guilt carving hollows under his eyes. I have to go after her. Betrayal. Round 2. Not just the lie, but the ease of it. Go, I said, voice steady. Fix your straight life. He hesitated, then left, door clicking like a guillotine. I drove alone that afternoon, the arch mocking me in the rearview. Lewis faded, but the ache didn't. Filmed a vlog for no one. Mile marker 200. Lost my co-star. Tears blurred the lens. By evening, in a podunk town outside Springfield, my phone buzzed. Chris, we need to talk. I'm coming back. Hope flickered. Fragile. But deep down, I knew love like ours was a plot twist no one scripted for happy. Illinois flats stretched endless. Flat as my hope. The Mustang eating miles while Chris's texts piled up unread. Sarah's flying home. We talked. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? The sex? The lie? Or the half-life he'd offered? I blasted indie folk. Bon Iver's falsetto a dirge for my dignity, and pulled over at a corn maze outside Bloomington, wandering rows till thorns scratched my arms bloody. A scarecrow grinned from a post, stuffed and vacant-eyed, like the version of Chris I'd loved. All surface charm, no depth. Back on the road, I called my sister in Ohio, Lena, the therapist in training who saw through my bullshit. Dump the fantasy, Will, she said, voice crisp over static. He's not your leading man, he's an extra, but fantasies die hard. Chris caught up at a rest stop near Champaign, his Jeep screeching gravel as he parked beside me. He looked wrecked, stubble thick, eyes bloodshot from no sleep. Will, wait. I leaned against the hood, arms crossed. What's left to say? He stepped close, too close, smelling of diner coffee and regret. Everything. I ended it with Sarah. For real. My laugh cracked. Because of me? Or because she's onto your experiment? Hurt flashed. It's not an experiment. That night in Sedona. Lewis. It woke me up. I've been lying to myself since college. Hooking up with guys on the DL. Then burying it. The confession hung. Heavy as humidity. DL? Anonymous glory holes in Baltimore? My stomach turned. So I'm what? You're coming out pity fuck? No. He grabbed my shirt. Fists bunched. You're the only one who matters. Always have. We stood there, inches apart, the interstate roaring past like judgment. Then he kissed me, public, reckless, lips crashing with diesel fumes and desperation. A trucker honked, but we didn't care. Hands fisting hair, bodies aligning. It was claim staking. Come back to the trip, he murmured against my mouth. Let me prove it, against every screaming instinct. I did. We ditched his Jeep, piled into the Mustang, him shotgun, hand on my knee the whole drive to Chicago. Windy City hit like a fever dream. Skyline piercing clouds, Lake Michigan churning gray. We splurged on a loft in Wicker Park. Exposed brick. King bed mocking our history. That night, over deep dish at Giordano's, he spilled the hookups, the shame, the fear of losing his all-American mask. Med school brodos who'd call him fag if they knew. His dad, the stoic Korean War vet, who'd disown him. "You're brave, Chris," I said, lacing fingers under the table. "Nah. You're my anchor." Back at the loft, we made love slow, candlelight flickering on his scars, my camera forgotten. He traced my tattoos, a film reel on my ribcage, whispering, "Tell me your story." I did, between breaths. The lonely shoots in Ohio basements, coming out to Lena at 16. The crushes that crushed me. Him. Always him. Days blurred in bliss. Millennium Park at dawn. Him feeding me gelato like a scene from When Harry Met Sally. Art Institute. Hands brushing over Monet's lilies. One evening, on a boat cruise, he dropped to one knee, not proposal, but promise. "I'm all in, Will. No more hiding." Fireworks burst over the lake, mirroring the burst in my chest. We fucked against the loft window that night, city lights painting us gold raw, equal, alive. But conflict brews in calm. A week in, his phone rang, his mom, Evelyn, the Southern belle who'd raised him Baptist straight. "Darlin'," Sarah called. Said you're confused. "Comin' home for intervention." His face drained. "Ma, it's not." But she steamrolled, Bible verses, prayers for deliverance. He hung up, slamming the counter. "She thinks I'm possessed." I pulled him close. "We'll face it together." But doubt crept. His flinch at a rainbow flag vendor, the way he'd scan rooms for familiar faces. The climax hit in Indiana. En route to Ohio, our origin, our endgame. We'd planned a detour to his family's farm outside Dayton, to rip the Band-Aid, but at a gas station near Terre Haute, his brother Jake called Big Brother, ex-Marine, the enforcer. "Heard you're queer now? Dad's furious." "Don't bring that shit home." Chris paled, phone slipping. "Will, maybe we postpone." Panic clawed me. "Postpone us? After everything?" He paced, oil-slicked lot gleaming. "It's not you. It's them, they're my blood. Blood." The word sliced. "And I'm what? Your side plot." He grabbed me, desperate. "You're my everything. But if I lose them?" The fight escalated, voices rising, drawing stares from pump jockeys. "You've lost me already," I yelled, shoving past. "Every time you choose fear over us." He blocked my path, eyes wild. "Don't make me choose." Thunder rumbled distant, echo of Sedona. I pushed him away, chest heaving. Too late. I peeled out, leaving him in the dust, heart shattering on asphalt. Drove blind through the night, tears mixing with rain. Pulled over at a Hoosier rest area, curled in the back seat, sobs racking. Betrayal's bitterest when it's self-inflicted, loving someone who half loves back. Phone buzzed. "Please. I'm coming." But I powered it off. Dawn broke over cornstalks, and I faced east alone, toward home, toward healing. Or so I thought. Because love, like film, has retakes. Ohio welcomed me with open arms and closed fists, flatlands folding into the familiar ache of home. I ditched the Mustang at Lena's in Columbus, crashing on her futon while she force-fed me soup and therapy speak. He's toxic, Will. A straight boy playing gay chicken. But toxicity's addictive. I checked his socials obsessively. Stories of him at the farm, forced smiles with family, captions screaming denial, home sweet home. Family first. A week in, he showed, banging on Lena's door at midnight, rain-soaked and desperate, duffel slung over shoulder. I told them, he gasped when she let him in. Everything. Lena shot me a look, your mess, and vanished to her room. We sat on the kitchen floor, backs to cabinets, knees touching. Dad threw a chair. Called me an abomination. His voice cracked. Fresh bruises shadowing his jaw. Jake's work? Mom cried. Prayed over me like I was dying. I touched the mark. Gentle. And he leaned into my palm. I shattered glass. I walked. Said I love you. That you're my future. Love. The word hung. A lifeline or noose. Chris. You can't just. He kissed me then. Salt-tanged and fierce. Pulling me to the futon. We made love quiet. Reverent. Fingers mapping hurts. Mouth soothing scars. I'm yours, he whispered, collapsing spent. No more halves. Bliss was tentative. A ceasefire. We holed up at Lena's. Him job hunting remotely for clinic gigs. Me pitching scripts to indie contacts. Walks in Goodale Park. Hands laced casual testing normalcy. One night, over takeout Thai, he proposed for real this time. Not knee, but heart. Marry me, Will. In a state that says yes. Massachusetts. Maybe our escape. I said yes. Tears blurring his grin. Filmed a private reel. Us slow dancing in the living room to the National. His head on my shoulder. But betrayal's shadow lingers. It struck mid-autumn. Leaves turning bloody in the Cuyahoga Valley. Chris's phone buzzed during a hike. Unknown number. He stepped away. Voice low. Yeah, I get it. But no. I caught fragments. Confidential. Support group. Straight again. My blood iced. Confronted him at the trailhead. Leaves crunching under fury. Who was that? He flushed. Church buddy from home. Offering help, or temptation. You're seeing a conversion therapist? The accusation flew. Venomous. He recoiled. One meeting, to smooth things with family. Not to change. Liar. Evidence piled. Browser history I'd glimpsed. Ex-gay forums. Temptation testimonies. The fight exploded, him yelling defenses. Me hurling every suppressed rage. You used me. Bed hopping till straight one. He grabbed my arms. Shaking. I love you. Damn it. This is war. For us. But war needs casualties. I stormed to the car. Him chasing. Will. Stop. At the overlook. Cliffs dropping to the river. He caught me. Pinned against the railing. Wind whipping. Look at me. His eyes pleaded. Bro. I'm fighting. For you. Then he kissed me. Desperate. Devouring. The world tilting. We tumbled to the grass. Clothes shedding in frenzy. Him entering me under crimson canopy. Thrusts a declaration. Mine, he growled. And I believed. Lost in the rhythm. Winter crept. Testing resolve. Christmas at Lena's, his first queer holiday. We baked gingerbread. Him burning the edges. Laughing through tears. But calls from home eroded. Jake's voicemails. slurred and hateful. Come back, bro. This phase'll pass. Chris deleted them, but I saw the crack, nights he woke sweating, murmuring prayers. Climax brewed in February, snow blanketing Columbus like lies. He vanished one morning, left a note, meeting Dad. Be back. Panic clawed. I tailed him to a coffee shop in German Village, peering through frost-laced windows. There, Chris and his father, Harold, silver-haired patriarch, face carved granite. Words carried on wind. Son, God's forgiving. Just choose right. Chris's shoulders slumped. Dad, I have. William's my right. Harold's slap echoed, crisp, shocking. Chris reeled, cheek blooming red. Don't make me bury you, the old man growled, storming out. I burst in, wrapping Chris in my coat. You saw. Shame flooded him. I had to try. For closure. Closure, or crack in our foundation. That night, betrayal peaked. Alone in the loft we'd rented, our first place, he confessed more, the therapist. 2 sessions. Just talking. They said it's trauma. That you're my crutch. My world fractured. So I'm the villain now? He dropped to knees, sobbing. No. Quit. Told them to fuck off. But trust's a fragile reel, snapped. I packed a bag. Heart lead. I need space. He blocked the door, wild-eyed. Don't leave. Please. The plea broke me, we collided again. Bodies slamming walls. Sex a battlefield. Him begging inside me. Stay. But release brought clarity. Love can't heal if it's chained to shame. I left at dawn. Couch surfing with friends. Filming shorts on isolation. Grainy confessionals of a heart unspooled. He texted, please, our movie's not over. But arcs demand turning points. Spring thawed Ohio's bones. But my freeze lingered. Numb days editing rejection emails into poetry. Nights scrolling Chris's sparse posts. Gym selfies. Med journal shares. A silence screaming absence. Lena dragged me to Pride in Cincinnati. Rainbow rivers of bodies. Bass-thumping queer anthems. I danced with strangers. Lips brushing necks. Chasing oblivion. But his ghost haunted. A laugh in the crowd. Blue eyes in the throng. Home by midnight. Drunk on gin and grief. Called him. Will. Voice wrecked. Hopeful. I miss you. Simple words. A hook. Me too. We met at our overlook. River silver under moon. Cliffs whispering forgiveness. He waited on the bench. Thinner. Shadows under eyes like script notes unread. I sold the farm share. Enrolled in couples therapy solo. For now. Progress. Or performance. I sat distant. Why? He turned. Vulnerable. To unlearn the hate. Be worthy of us. Tears tracked his cheeks. I betrayed you, chose fear over fight. But losing you? That's hell. My resolve cracked. You can't half-ass this, Chris. He nodded. Fervent. Full take. Rewrite the ending. We kissed slow. Tentative, tasting salt. Promise. Drove back entwined. Hands mapped like territory reclaimed. Summer rebuilt. Brick by brick. Therapy sessions he shared. Raw transcripts of shame unpacked. Desires owned. We road-tripped light. Finger Lakes wineries. Him toasting to retakes. Filmed a doc short. Route 66 Redux. His voiceover. Straight lines lie. Curves tell truth. Screened it at a queer film fest in Cleveland. Applause thundered, his hand in mine steady. But humanism's no montage flaws persist. Jake cornered us at a family wedding. Evelyn's remarriage. Fragile truce. You're poison, he hissed at me. Breath bourbon. Chris stepped forward. Calm. Love him or lose me. Jake walked. But Evelyn hugged me later, whispered, thank you for my boy back. Fall brought climax's echo. A letter from Harold, scrawled and shaking. Forgive an old fool. Proud of you both. We visited the farm, porch swing creaking, coffee steaming. He shook my hand. Gruff. Make him happy, son. Chris wept. Circle closed. Winter holidays. Our first tree. Ornaments hand-painted. Sedona storm in miniature. Lewis sparkles. Made love by firelight. Bodies synced. No ghosts. Yet endings aren't tidy. A year on. Med school called him to Baltimore residency grind. Long distance tested. Texts at 3 a.m. Visits squeezed between shifts. One night, post-call exhaustion, he confessed a slip bar flirt with a nurse. Just talk. But I pulled back. Betrayals whisper. Why tell me? Hurt laced my voice. Transparency. Our pact. We fought over video, him in scrubs, me in our empty loft. I choose you. Every time. Trust rebuilt. Thread by thread. 2 years in. Vegas Redux. Not buffets, but vows. Little chapel off-strip. Lena officiating in sequins. William Hayes. Do you take this beautiful mess? I do. Rings exchanged, simple bands. Engraved unexpected. Honeymoon on Route 66 reverse. Mustang reclaimed. Beds shared without storms. In Sedona, under those same pines, he knelt again. Forever's my plot twist. I pulled him up, kissing deep. Ours. Life's no script. Med rotations. My indie short snagging Sundance nods. Fights over dishes and distance. But romance roots deep. Anniversaries with bad diner pie. Lazy Sundays filming nothing. Humanistic grace. We falter. Forgive. Flourish. Chris. Once straight arrow. Now my compass curved. True. And in quiet nights. His hand on my thigh. I breathe easy. Breathless no more. But alive unexpectedly. Eternally. Epilogue whisper. At our Chicago loft. Editing our life reel. He wraps arms around me. Best co-star. I smile. Hitting play. Best plot. Fade to us tangled in sheets. Thunder distant. Love the real storm.